Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. The red wave is here. This is literally a trifecta. The presidency, the House, and the Senate are all under the GOP right now. But there's huge breaking news. Again, Trump is just laying bombshell news every single day. And Trump has now come out and said that he is coming after the FCC and the FDC and is instituting one of the biggest changes ever to the federal government to limit its size and capacity. Now, this is the same person that they called that said that he would be a dictator, but literally he is making changes on every front to limit the size of government and its power and its capacity over the people. He wants to put a cap on the regulatory budget. He says we cannot spend more than we take in. That's not how money works, and that's not how the United States is going to move forward. We need to reduce the national debt. We also have it where there is leaked news that CNN and MSNBC may be sold pretty soon. Their ratings are collapsing. They're literally firing some of their top personalities. They're laying off hundreds of workers. And I know a pretty rich guy. I don't know if you know him. His name is Elon Musk. I think this would be a great buy for him. But both networks have lost upwards of 50% of their viewership after the election, and it's just not looking good. Also, there's a lot of speculation now with Ukraine and Russia and the money that is being sent over there. But the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, came out and said there will be no vote on any more money for Ukraine till we secure the United States southern border. Donald Trump has also named Mike Huckabee to be the ambassador to Israel. This is a huge pick for him, especially with our closest ally. And also, our beloved Oprah has literally lied on camera about her not receiving any money from the Kamala Harris campaign, even though the Federal Election Committee records showed that she had 2 disbursements to her production company of $500,000 apiece. So it's not looking good for a lot of people. We just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help out. And thank you to all of our members of the channel for supporting us. The link is in the description to join. And thank you for everybody for the super chats that are given in about a week and a half. We're going to be doing a big giveaway to help out the homeless and help those that normally can't afford a Thanksgiving. And thank you so much, Deanna Rankin, for the super chat already. Let's go. Y'all show Deanna some love in the chat. But there's a lot of things moving forward now with the RNC. There's still a lot of court cases out there that need to be handled. So check this out.
RNC co-chair Lara Trump. Lara, before we get to this, I think everybody owes you a congratulations because you had a tough job over there. There was a lot of shenanigans that last time that we were all concerned about. And there was a ground game that wasn't up to snuff, and you delivered. So as my mother would say, give yourself a pat on the back.
Well, thank you, Jesse. And by the way, you're more than welcome to come to the Trump house for Thanksgiving. We'll go ahead and extend the offer to you because I don't want you to be left out in the cold on this one.
Well, that would make my mother even more upset. But look,
yeah, I know. You'll probably be out of Christmas, too, at that point.
It's fine. It's okay. We all need a cooling off period. But when you look at the left trying to take their cooling off period, I know it's your job to manage the RNC and Republicans, but part of your job is also to dissect the political enemy, and I say that without any negativity. How do you think that they're dealing with this, and how crippled will they be for how long?
Well, I kind of think that it's like the American people broke up with the Democrats on Tuesday night, a bad breakup. And I think right in the midst of a bad breakup, oftentimes the person who is broken up with doesn't have a lot of self-reflection. They kind of go back and they go in even harder to maybe try a little more with that person. But the American people sent a very strong message on Tuesday night that they want the America First policies of Donald Trump. They want sanity, Jesse, back in their lives. And I think unless the Democrats are able to really take a long, hard look at really how far off the scale of anything rational they've gone, I don't know that they ever come back to really win any elections. And quite frankly, that's okay with us over at the RNC.
No more elections, they'll win. None?
Yeah, no, exactly. But I think it's really stunning to see this victory for Donald Trump. And by the way, Jesse, no one deserves it more than he does. This is a man who's been through everything imaginable. And I'll tell you what, to stand up on that stage alongside of him, whenever he got that very well-deserved win that ended up being 312 electoral votes and now all 7 swing states, the Senate, and now I think we can confirm the House as well. Absolutely incredible. The American people have spoken. They wanted Donald Trump back, and they wanted his America First policies back in the White House.
And what made it even sweeter was the fact that they called it on election night. The entire country is very grateful about the margin of victory because we could not put up with another 6-day count. You know, obviously your father-in-law is making moves, and he's making quick moves, and that's good because we don't have a lot of time. He's already appointed Tom Homan as border czar. He's going to be in charge of deportations. The left is already panicked. Here's The View. Watch this.
The appointment of Tom Homan today as border czar, and he will be in charge of a mass deportation program. When you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, you know, those of you who voted for Trump, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around, and you're about to find out.
No one said it's going to be easy. No one's saying mass deportations is going to be fun, but it's going to be necessary. Do you think the Democratic Party can continue to survive if they resist the deportations that a majority of the country voted for?
But that does remain to be seen. I think that these people are deluded. You know, that's the same kind of fear-mongering and scare tactics, Jesse, that lost them an election. They go so far off the rails with this stuff that people say, well, I don't know, aren't we supposed to have a system of laws here in America? Aren't we supposed to have people abide by those laws? Isn't it illegal to come in this country without any vetting, without any formal process of any variety? And by the way, maybe somebody should remind her that we do have 15,000 people who are convicted sexual assaulters, 13,000 murderers wandering our streets, 350 people on the terror watch list. I don't know, that's 350 more than I want in my country. So yes, those are going to be the people that are prioritized to get out of this country. Of course, it's not going to be easy, but it's necessary. And it's also necessary to send a strong message out there. You saw almost immediately, Jesse, what happened. That caravan that was headed towards our southern border broke up, and a lot of people left when Donald Trump was elected on Tuesday night, because they know he means business. That's why the American people wanted him back there. They were desperate to have actual real leadership in the White House. And I think it's great. People should never take that journey because it's dangerous, it's treacherous. A quarter of the women or more are sexually assaulted on their way up. So thank you, Donald Trump, for already setting things straight at our southern border.
And I'll tell you this, like everybody to me has now realized that things are changing, and I feel like this could be like a permanent change. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. We have officially won the House, the Senate, the electoral vote, the popular vote, the SCOTUS. It's all in favor of the GOP because the progressive left, the Democrats, people just oppose what they stand for. Check this out. So this is how you know that things are forever changing, everybody. So CNN will axe top stars in layoffs that'll see hundreds fired as ratings continue to tank. Not only them, MSNBC ratings have cratered by 50%. They are hemorrhaging viewers. Comcast may sell it off. There's a lot of talk about that, even from Eric Doherty, if that's how you pronounce his name, who said Comcast reportedly to sell left-wing network MSNBC. People don't want to hear all that stuff because remember, you had these hosts who were literally saying that pretty much all white males and even Hispanic and black males were misogynistic, they were racist, all this stuff just because they didn't vote for Kamala Harris. People don't want to hear that. They don't want to be called that. But I'm glad that we're actually getting change like crazy, like never before. Check this out.
Good news. I said today in the title of the show, more winning. The winning continues. MSNBC's ratings have completely collapsed. people may be starting to realize, because I'm a numbers guy and a spreadsheets guy, that, man, this really sucks getting lied to the entire time. Joy Reid down 54%. How Joy Reid is even have an audience to be down 54% is insane. Joy Reid should have one viewer, Joy Reid's mom or dad, and then that's it, which would be 0% when she's done. Joy Reid, the dad stopped watching, it's still mom. So, right, down 54%. Good call, Guy. Ari Melber, Chris Hayes, Alex Wagner, morning. Jennifer Rubin right now is like, oh my gosh, they're going to fire accreditors. We will not be able to institute communism in universities. We're going to lose our ideological power over the younglings, the younglings. As she's writing this article, she's watching this video. Here's the same video at the end. She's like, wait. Now she's got to scratch the whole column out and say, there was something even worse in this video. Trump is going to break up the Department of Education. Folks, hair is getting pulled out in chunks right now. Whole chunks. You're going to have a big donut around your head. Chunks are being pulled out right now. Here, watch this, same video.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse. We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation, and yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst.
You see? You see, man? You see what I'm telling you? They don't know what to write about. They're still busy writing about Kamala Harris sucks, Joe Biden should have got out sooner, Republicans are racist, Nazi, misogynist, anti-immigrant. They're still busy writing notes. They're not even done with those. They don't know what to do. Please, seriously, I was joking, but please trust me. I promise you I have no dog in this fight. I swear to you as my loyal listeners, I love you guys. I have no dog in this fight. I'm not looking for a job. I'm not looking for PAC donations. I don't want your money. I don't want anything. I have no dog in the fight other than you and my credibility. This is the only way to do this. And by the way, these things are so fast and furious. I got to tell you, I've had a tough time triaging the show about what to put in the show because Trump has launched so many nuclear bombs against the left and the deep state. I can't even fit it all in the show. This thing about university accreditors is a big deal. Those you have to be accredited to get federal money. When the accreditors tell colleges, hey, basically do commie stuff, that's why we've got communist universities. You break that cartel, you've got a whole new education system. And the Department of Education has been nothing more than an outlet, bureaucratic outlet for the teachers' unions that have screwed over kids forever. This is huge stuff. By the end of the show, we'll have 10 more things to talk about on the radio show. Folks, the fountain of good news, man, just keeps pouring water out of the spigot. I'm not even done. Remember that lawyer who's telling their clients to leave the country? He's so humiliated. Even he's trying to change his story now, too. The spigot of good news is open. I have seen very little bad news. Again, there's a couple picks. I'm like, I'd like to see Rick Scott wrap up on the majority side, the Senate Majority Leader. Folks, there's been a lot of beef on that, too. Another radio host going after people. This guy's terrible. There's 3 picks, folks. We live in the real world. You got to pick one of 3. I am not looking for someone I need to, date on a dating website. I'm married. I'm looking for someone and going, spreadsheet. More conservative or less conservative. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. But the spigot of good news hasn't stopped. Look at this. This is that lawyer, Mark Zaid, who is telling some of his clients, hey, man, Trump may be into retribution. You may have to leave the country. Watch this guy change his story to I'm telling my clients to take a vacation. Why'd he do that? He thought that was going to make him a hero. And he realizes now he looks like a moron because even some of these left-leaning but not totally radical media people are starting to realize they look ridiculous right now. Watch this.
So it would be naive and foolish for us not to take any of this seriously. And we're preparing. Now, I've represented a lot of clients who have been specific targets of President Trump and those around him. We're not just talking about my federal employee workers in different agencies who are uncomfortable, like you've just heard in this last segment. We're talking about people who have been specifically called out by the former president of the United States. And we're not rushing to it. I'm not saying sell your home, move overseas, never come back, become an expat. I'm telling
I'm sorry to interrupt everybody, but it's just hilarious how you have these lawyers coming on CNN saying that they are advising their clients to literally leave the country because Trump is now president. This is just insane. I'm just like, the level of just dramatization they're going to is just unreal.
clients, a small number, that, you know what, take a vacation for inauguration.
Yes, take a vacation, an extended one. I think our offer still stands. First class tickets all around the globe to the other side. No return pass for you. Surrender your passport in that foreign country and don't come back. Folks, this kind of insanity on the left, this guy was pretty much laughed at. I'm just telling you. Now, the far lefties still believe it, the Rachel Maddows. But they're the folks yesterday who I played at the end, Philippe Reines and all these tactical people who want to win elections, they realize they sound like total morons. They're the only ones that do this. You don't see me doing this. What did I say before the election? We lose, it would have sucked, but I'd be back to fight in the midterms. I would. I did the same thing in 2020. I had so many people email, it's over, I'm never voting again. Nothing's over, man. You got to go first blood, John Rambo style at the end to Colonel Troutman. Nothing's over. It's not over. The country's not over. It's never over. The great thing about the United States is when other countries are over, we're not over. And when they think they're over, we help them not be over. Here's a decent pick. I like Lee Zeldin at EPA. Lee Zeldin ran for governor in New York, ran a really competitive race. You know why I like Zeldin at EPA? People are like, oh my gosh, is he a big environmental guy? I don't know, but I know he's he's good on business. And the first couple of things coming out of the EPA were basically how to make the economy motor and jive more with a relatively clean environment. I mean, we all want water to be clean and all that other stuff, despite the leftist claims. But you got to focus on business first, because if we don't have the money to keep the environment clean, you're not going to have an environment. The whole place is going to burn down. So that, I think, was a decent pick. Good news.
I'm telling you this, guys. We are moving in a direction faster than I ever could have imagined on what the news is coming out. Judy Lynn Loving Spirit, thank you so much for the gifting, the One True Life News membership. Let's go. And thank you so much, Lay Lewis, for the super chat. Y'all are awesome. Y'all show Lay and Judy Lynn some love in the chat, everybody. So Speaker Mike Johnson says there won't be a vote to send more money to Ukraine until the border is secure. Like, things are going into lockdown mode when it comes to the spending, when it comes to the border, when it comes to anything, all the things that the Democrats have been trying to push through for the past 4 years, they're all going down to lockdown mode. And Trump has just released a new video this morning. Remember, you're not going to see this anywhere else besides here of what is actually, what he's showing, what he's going to do come day one of his administration. Check this out.
Cutting wasteful and job-killing regulations was a key part of my America First economic agenda that built the greatest economy in the history of the world. As I work to quickly save America from Joe Biden's economic disaster, and that's what it is, one of the great economic disasters of all time, I will restore my famously successful executive order requiring that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated, and I will ask Congress to make it permanent. We will again implement a regulatory budget, putting a hard cap on the cost of regulations to the U.S. economy. Instead of growing the size and scope of the federal government, every single year we've been doing that, we will shrink it every year with aggressive cost reduction targets for each federal department.
Yes.
In addition, we will require that all agencies' regulatory guidance must be posted publicly in a central database or else be rendered null and void. And many of them will, in fact, be null and void. This will effectively repeal a mountain of stealth regulations and threats that rogue bureaucrats have imposed without proper oversight. And I will sign a law to ban bureaucrats from taking any enforcement action based on informal guidance alone. For example, never again will bureaucrats be allowed to bully and pressure banks to choke off their financially deplatformed, politically disfavored industries. We're not going to let that happen. Next, I will bring the independent regulatory agencies such as the FCC and the FTC back under presidential authority as the Constitution demands. These agencies do not get to become a fourth branch of government, issuing rules and edicts all by themselves, and that's what they've been doing. I will require that they submit any regulations they're considering for White House review. In addition, we will create an ultra-streamlined federal regulatory framework specifically for freedom cities, allowing them to be true frontiers for the return of U.S. manufacturing, the invention of new industries, the rebirth of economic opportunity, and safe and affordable living.
Let's go.
Finally, I will require every federal employee to pass a new civil service test demonstrating an understanding of our constitutional limited government. This will include command of due process rights, equal protection, free speech, religious liberty, federalism, the Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search and seizure. I know all about that at Mar-a-Lago, don't I? And all other constitutional limits on federal power. We will put unelected bureaucrats back in their place, liberate the U.S. economy, and attract millions of jobs and trillions of dollars to our shores. Thank you very much.
Let's go. Guys, when he's coming out and he's just laying out these bombshells on all the Democrats are going crazy because they're thinking, oh, they're making government smaller, smaller, smaller. Look, we bring the receipts, everybody. Check this out. This is from 1900 all the way to 2021. So look at the federal spending that has happened. It's the blue. The blue is the GDP, but look at the budget outlays. We were modestly going, and then all of a sudden, shot up like crazy. This is where we've got to control spending. And whenever we see these charts and we see like, man, what is actually going on? This is where we have to get to a point of actually controlling the money and limiting government. Remember, they're always trying to make, the federal government is trying to get in every single thing that you want to do. And I love it that for once, we are finally seeing a leader who is already elected, not just somebody who's trying to be elected, but somebody who is elected, who's saying we are going to reduce the size of government. This is huge. And there's also a lot of breaking news going over the DOJ, because remember, they came after Trump and what is going to happen with the transition. Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, when are they going to charge the people responsible for illegally coming in the United States? Homan is working on it. They've already said, go ahead. If you're here illegally, you might as well deport yourself because we're coming for you. Let's go. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat, everybody. Check this out.
PTSD from Trump's first term, calling his re-election a dystopian hellscape and are dreading his return. You don't have to stay. But our next guest working on the Trump transition team has a strong warning for those resisting the new agenda. Attorney Mark Paoletta served in the very first Trump administration and joins us now. Mark, your response to some of the PTSD claims.
You know, Brian, who would have thought it's controversial that when a new boss comes in with a new agenda, that the people who work there are going to support the president's agenda, right? Only in the federal government, only with a deep swamp, do people, career employees think that they get to run the joint, as it were. President Trump, was reelected with an overwhelming majority of an agenda by the American people, popularly supported. So deporting millions of illegal aliens out of this country, securing the border, banning DEI, all that destructive stuff that the Biden administration let run wild. Getting boys out of girls' sports. Those are all the things that the Department of Justice is going to work on, and those are the things that the Department of Justice employees, career employees, are going to support. And if they don't want to support it, they should leave.
Ooh. Mark, the other thing is, and we'll get into it another time, if you have an efficiency...
Remember, this is a guy on Trump's transition team. He gets to choose, like, hey, you're either going to stay or you go. If you're not going to get in line with Trump's agenda, then get out.
Guy named Elon Musk. There's a lot of these agencies and these bureaucracies are just fat with people who feel are not accountable, just checking the clock, wondering, when they can retire. And I think they're in danger of being gutted, even though they are unionized. I want to talk about who's going to be facing Donald Trump today. We're going to find out if Judge Juan Merchan is going to make a decision on whether he's going to go through with sentencing with Trump in relation to the Supreme Court ruling that said his act that's under scrutiny that he was convicted of was actually he's now immune from.
Yeah, I think this is, again, this is what was on the ballot. The American people reject this lawfare that was engaged in by the left, by Judge Merchan, to go after President Trump, to target him as a political opponent. So, yes, I think he should dismiss it today. Yes, the Supreme Court had to step in and make a ruling that every American, every legal person understood that the president is immune. The president did nothing wrong, that the left drummed up invented these crimes. And so hopefully it's put to bed today.
I know, you hope, but we've seen Juan Merchan just love the spot done. So knowing that he loves the spotlight like he does, do you think he would do what you say is the right thing and just put an end to this today? Or do you think that to characterize his behavior, he's going to look to extend this and get us to a sentencing day?
Yeah, I hope he dismisses it. It's the right, it's the right. It has to happen under the Supreme Court's ruling in terms of he introduced into evidence information that was, protected under presidential immunity. So the entire, legally the entire case is infected and flawed. So yes, I hope he dismisses it, doesn't go forward. If he can read the writing on the wall, the American people rejected this. President Trump's going to be coming into office in a few weeks. And all of this needs to end today.
I'm telling you, because this is a big thing. Remember, the biggest things right now in the media they're talking about immigration. They're also talking about Trump's lawsuits. They're talking about, is Trump going to go to jail? Is he going to sentence him to jail? Well, the biggest thing is when you look at all the other lawsuits that have happened, the Georgia case was dropped. The Georgia case has been suspended indefinitely. The Florida case was dropped. Jack Smith, all the classified documents case out of Washington, D.C., they've all been dismissed. The only one that we're waiting on is the New York hush money trial case, which they said was wrongful lawfare that went against Trump, just trying to keep him from being on the campaign trail, trying to keep him from actually running for president. But the other thing, too, is because I really want to get this out of the way, people don't understand immigration whatsoever. But listen to the facts said by our boy Scott Jennings on where Trump is at with the border.
Did people know it? It's overwhelmingly popular. Poll after poll after poll, Americans wanted this policy.
Which policy exactly?
Deportations. And even
mass
trying to make this controversial. It's not controversial. A couple things. Number one, presidents always deport people. Barack Obama deported 3 million people.
3 million.
This is not controversial.
Yeah. Actually,
and on top of that, one more issue. There's 1.3 to 1.6 million people who've already received deportation orders from a court. They've already gotten due process. That's a good place to start, not controversial.
Well, to your point about the deportations happening, one of the interesting things is, to your point, Barack Obama deported 2.9 million people in his first term, another 1.9 in his second term. But look at the Trump and Biden numbers. They're almost identical.
Did people know it?
Do y'all see that? So now that Trump is wanting to deport all these people, they're wanting to make sure that we have, clean safety. We know who's in the country. People are going crazy, but literally, Barack Obama, over 4 million people were deported under his watch in both of his terms. But the thing is we didn't have a mass importation like we've had under the Biden admin to just try to get in all these people, try to make them voters so that they can try to, no more swing states. We've already heard what Elon Musk has to say about it. But we do have updates on what's going to go on with the New York hush money trial. Andy, thank you so much for the other super chat. Let's go. He said, what about charging the Democrats for bringing all the illegals here? When is that going to happen? So, first things first, I know that their priorities we got to get the illegals out of the country and then go after who was actually held accountable. And this is where, again, too, Biden and Harris, they're not going anywhere. Things that like there's already been leaked reports that the Congress wants to hold them before Congress to testify before the American people. Why did you let in over 10 million plus people? You did this on purpose. That's what we're going to be looking for, Andy. Thank you so much. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat, everybody. But here's the updated news pertaining to Trump's legal cases.
Jonathan Turley joins us now as well. And sir, welcome to our coverage. Fox News contributor, constitutional law attorney. Just one more thing on the politics of this. What Judge Merchan allowed Trump to do in the middle of this election was to give him a platform a couple times a day. You know, the cameras are parked outside the courtroom looking down the hallway, and Trump took advantage of it every time he walked in and walked out. And every cable outlet covered it. All that stuff was distributed on social media. You know, you can crack on Biden for running a lackluster campaign at the time, but, you know, Trump took the stage and took advantage of that moment. Jonathan, does this case come back when he leaves the White House in 2029?
Well, it can. It's a sort of a curious position to put the president in. Some might even view it as passive aggressive, because you leave this dangling sort of Damocles over his head. And so his critics will say he's awaiting sentencing. And you make it more difficult to appeal some of these issues. Keep in mind that the sentencing issue aside, and I doubt that the judge would have sentenced him to jail time, this case has layers, in my view, of reversible error. I think that the judge did a horrible job in this trial. He ruled regularly and consistently against Trump. And in some cases, I think that he did commit reversible errors. So freezing this in amber is not going to be necessarily good news for the Trump campaign. I think they were eager to appeal this, to get a final decision and to at least appeal aspects of this. So there's going to be some maneuvering going on as to what can be still reviewed. In terms of leaving a case suspended for 4 years, it's just a very odd way of addressing this. You know, the sentencing only created a conflict with the president's presidential duties if the judge sensed limitations upon the president. I mean, he could have simply said, I'm not going to impose jail time or home confinement. He could even say that being president is equivalent to community service. So there's a lot of ways that he could have handled this. So I think as we play this out a bit, we're going to have to see what the Trump lawyers do. I don't know if they will necessarily welcome the idea that they're just going to keep this thing sort of as a zombie case for 4 years.
Professor, stand by, and we're going to get to this whole issue that Andy raised about this political quid pro quo, which would be the ultimate, right?
That's right.
The ultimate pinch me moment here. So stand by for that. We got more.
Carrier Bond, you were in the courtroom for all of this that happened in New York City. Tell us what you think about the decision to delay.
I think the Trump lawyers had to expect this to some extent because, you know, they did file just a few days ago saying that because Donald Trump is now president-elect, it raises all kinds of new constitutional questions that the court has to consider as far as both, you know, on one hand, the immunity issue from the Supreme Court, but also sentencing, given that he obviously, if he were to be sentenced to anything, wouldn't be able to execute that sentence because he will be at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But a couple thoughts come to mind. One, I've been wondering what Governor Hochul is thinking. You know, she has the power to pardon him in this. And it could be an interesting decision on her end. I've wondered if Donald Trump is having, and his people are having conversations with her right now, because as we know, the state of New York, it's a bit of a mess as far as how they run law enforcement there. So I've wondered about that. But, you know, look, in the big picture here, the thing that has always tremendously bothered me about this case is that I think a huge point of this was for the Democrats to get the talking point convicted felon. And the reason and the way they were able to make him a convicted felon was to say that he committed this, you know, these misdemeanors, he was covering up some underlying crime. And the real travesty in all of this is that we and he still don't know what those underlying crimes are. Because we weren't told. So Donald Trump became the so-called convicted felon, and we still don't even know why or how exactly.
Right, Carrie, you were in the courtroom.
Sure,
you came on the air. You came on the air repeatedly. You were taken back by the absurdity of the case itself, and obviously your opinion has not changed.
No, it hasn't changed at all. I still think it's a disgrace. And I wonder what this means as far as the delay and what will play out in the coming weeks, especially with the politicking, so to speak, between Donald Trump and maybe the...
And I'm telling you, like, what's crazy is everybody's trying to control the news outlets. And this is something super important I wanted to share with y'all, is that right now there's actually a scandal that's going on right now that they're trying, some of the news outlets are covering it, some are not. So right now, this big scandal is this. So Kamala Harris, they raised over $1 billion. Now they're in debt by over $20 million. They're now trying to ask people to donate money to try to pay off their debt, even though they lost. Even though, like, nobody knows exactly how the money was spent, people are confused. People are wondering, like, well, how do you spend over $1 billion and still lose an election? And a lot of people are being skeptical because there was a lot of money that was paid to constituents, to consultants, and it doesn't make any sense. Check this out.
Kamala's campaign spending scandal just got a lot worse. Last week, we found out Kamala spent millions of dollars buying celebrity endorsements and staging concerts that didn't win a single vote and ended up $20 million in debt. Tonight, we're finding out Kamala was lying to donors to keep the cash flowing. Here's one of Kamala's surrogates.
This is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. And I raised millions of that. I have friends that I have to be accountable to and to explain what happened because I told them it was a margin of error race. I was promised, Jen O'Malley Dillon promised all of us that Harris would win. She even put videos out saying that Harris would win. I believed her. My donors believed her. And so they wrote massive checks. I feel like a lot of us were misled.
Democrats were acting like sleazy salesmen, calling up donors and saying, we got Trump on the ropes. This race is tight. And your money can make all the difference. But the race wasn't close. And $1 billion just got washed away in a lake.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is the thing. You know it's not close because Trump won every single swing state. He literally went over 312 electoral votes. It was not close at all.
And slide. Her donors got fleeced, and Kamala was clueless. One Democrat official told Notice, I'm amazed that we even got close. The campaign has been broken since the beginning. Kamala inherited Biden's campaign, which was already shaky because no top talent wanted to move to Delaware. Right after the donations started pouring in around the August convention, Kamala started to fizzle. In September, the cash flow dried up. Her honeymoon was dead, but they kept her in the dark. It got so bad, some black staffers were on the brink of suing. Black aides felt routinely mistreated and demoralized.
Wow.
Some had even wanted to make formal complaints and refrained for fear of retaliation. In October, Kamala was scheduled to tape a fundraising video. While she was reading the script, Kamala stopped at a line. We missed our fundraising deadline. She looked at staffers and said, well, we can't lie to people. But it wasn't a lie. One low-level staffer had to tell Harris that the campaign did miss its goal. The Kamala Harris campaign was running out of money, and no one thought to tell Kamala Harris.
Wow.
And Kamala Harris never thought to ask. She was flying all over the country to schmooze donors and never wondered, like, hey, guys, how much money do we have coming in or out? What a puppet. Even Oprah Winfrey was in on it. The billionaire Weight Watchers tycoon demanded the Harris campaign pay her $1 million to do that little town hall interview where she claimed she had a Glock.
Hey, Oprah, good morning. How are you, darling? You looking very good. How do you think the election went?
Not talking about the election, thank you very much.
Oh, is it true that they paid you $1 million for the endorsement for Kamala?
Not true.
Not true, okay.
I was paid nothing, ever.
What do you think about all the celebrities with their mass exodus?
I'm not talking about it.
Do you think Prince Harry's gonna lose his visa now that Trump's president? Thank you, Oprah.
Kamala also blew $20 million on celebrity concerts. They even put Kamala's face on the Sphere in Vegas. See that stunt right there? Cost her $500,000.
Cool.
And Kamala never raised an eyebrow and then got creamed in Nevada. Kamala spent a fortune putting on drone shows in Pennsylvania. All the time Trump was going to Steelers games for free. and she lost worse in PA than Hillary did. Now Kamala's in debt and asking for money. She says it's going towards a recount. She lost by 3 million votes, so that's a lot of votes to recount. Democrats might not want to fork over any more cash. But there's one guy who's open to the idea, Donald Trump. He writes, whatever we can do to help them during this difficult period, I would strongly recommend we as a party, and for the sake of desperately needed unity, do. We have a lot of money left over in that our biggest asset in the campaign was earned media, and that doesn't cost very much.
Let's go. I'm telling you, look, Donald Trump is such a troll sometimes. I mean, it is what it is. He's saying he wants to pay off Kamala's debt. M, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show M some love in the chat. The good thing, everybody, is that people are not keeping their eyes, they're keeping their eyes on the right things. A lot of people got duped out of sending money to Kamala Harris so that she could pay celebrities. And it's insane that these celebrities just didn't do it for free. If they truly supported her, truly believed in her, they would have said, no, we don't need any money. We're here because we believe in you and we believe in your cause. But it was so easy for them to take that million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. And it just, they took all, those rich celebrities took all that money from literally hardworking Americans. They were giving small donations, $5 here, $25 here. And it just, it's so sad. It really is. But what's really good is that now we've got the right person who's going to be handling the border. The morale and the amount of people that are wanting to join the border patrol is going through the roof. Check this out.
Welcome back. President-elect Trump appointing former acting Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director Tom Homan to be in charge of U.S. border security. Morale appears to be surging amongst border agents and ICE officials, according to reporting by Fox News' Bill Maloogian. Responses from that group includes things like this. It's a total 180. Troops are finally feeling like the sun is coming out after a very long storm from another. Joining me now is incoming border czar, former acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Heritage Foundation visiting fellow, Tom Homan. Tom, great to see you. Congratulations on this fantastic role for yourself.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me today.
Well, you've done such a great job, Tom. Everybody knows that. First, I'm going to get your take. How involved will you be in choosing the new Department of Homeland Security and the ICE head?
Actually, I've had numerous conversations the last 2 days, so they've asked for my opinion. I've given my opinion, and I think we're going to end up with somebody fantastic.
Okay, let me get your take on what you're thinking about now. Walk us through your priorities, Tom. You've said the first group you need to get out of this country are the ones committing the harshest crimes. Murderers, the people who are have already been told your days are numbered. Tell us about that, and then what happens next. How are you thinking about this?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, the president said many times, our priority, day one, are targeting those public safety threats and national security threats, and there's plenty of them. Last time I looked, we had over 700,000 convicted illegal alien criminals running the streets of this nation. So we got.
Hold up, and guys, I'm sorry for interrupting, but this is huge. So remember, this guy's now the border czar, and he just said that there is 700,000 convicted felons in the United States that are illegal that we can deport. Like, this is what I love, is that when you hear the actual real numbers, the actual data, it is insanely higher than what gets reported and what we normally see. I love this. Tamara, thank you so much for the super chat. Member of the channel, let's go. Y'all show Tamara some love in the chat. And thank you so much, Edith Conley, for now a new member of the channel. Let's go. Said love this channel. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody.
Target them first, and because public safety threats will be first priority. National security threats, we know a lot of people are here on a terrorist watch list. We know a lot of people are on a no-fly list that were released by this administration. We got to locate those folks and make sure we take them into custody and remove them. Now, the problem is people that claim asylum, that have asylum claims right now, it's going to be difficult to remove them until they actually see a judge, because they do have a right to claim asylum. But doesn't mean to be running around the country. It means that they can be detained while by the way, if that's silent hearing, if they're a public safety threat. So we're going to lock those folks up. After that, you know, it really depends on the workforce I have, Maria, because, you know, how many agents am I going to have? We're going to bring, is DOD going to help do the infrastructure and transportation? Am I going to be allowed to bring back, you know, retired Border Patrol agents? I tell you, in the last 3 days, I have received hundreds of emails from retired Border Patrol agents, retired ICE agents, retired police officers, people that have just left the military that are begging to come in and be a part of this. So we got to really see what is the money available, what can we buy for resources to arrest as many people as we can based on priority.
Well, this is a very important point that you're making. You need the people in place to help you do the job at hand. Look, this is not an easy job. There are estimates of between 10 million and 16 million people who have come into this country illegally on Joe Biden's watch. How do you find them all? And what are you going to do? Round them up and put them on jets and send them back? Is it as simple as that?
No, it's not a simple process at all. And you're right on the money. It's a lot of work. But first of all, ICE is very good. The agency I used to run, we're very good at targeting. I can't explain a lot of what we do, but there's a lot of databases, a lot of information we have access to where it helps us locate these people. So first of all, targeting is going to have to expand immensely. And we already have a plan to do that. So targeting is the most important thing. Where are these people at and where can we locate them? And people need to understand it's not going to be no massive sweeps in neighborhoods. Everybody we arrest, we're going out with a fugitive operation worksheet. We know who they are. We pretty much know where we're going to find them. We even get down to the information who else is in the household. Do they have a child in the household? Because you know, that's going to depend on how the operation goes. So there's a lot of planning involved in this. We're going to arrest these people. So it's not the neighborhood, you know, the sweeps that I've been reading from the West, from the left side media.
Well, it sounds like you've got a dog in the background barking, Tom.
You know, I got a big old Italian Mastiff that, you know, I got a lot of death threats. So if MS-13 wants to break in my house, they won't be leaving.
Guys, I tell you what, the dream team, and now they're actually calling it the super team, is coming alive like never before. Like, I just love that it's like a breath of fresh air. We are finally feeling that we're getting positive, good change. We're getting the right people in office that want to represent that flag, put America first, no taxes on tips. That's going to affect millions of Americans. No taxes on Social Security. Extending the child tax credits, making the tax cuts permanent, making sure that America is not getting screwed over by NATO or other countries, that people are paying their fair share. That it's just amazing how one person with the right intentions to put America first could literally impact the entire world. As soon as Donald Trump became president-elect, the entire world said, we want to get on the good side of America. And I love that because I feel like for so long, like Donald Trump has said, we've been taken advantage of. And it's been these unelected bureaucrats, it's been these politicians, career politicians that have allowed it. And now we're getting a lot of anti-establishment people that are going to go in, put America first, and get us right on track. I love it. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the videos and the channel. And just want to say thank you to Deanna Rankin, Judy Lynn Loving Spirit, Lay Lewis, AF, Andy, M, Tamra, Edith Conley for supporting our channel through these super chats. We are so grateful. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Deanna Scott, What's New, OG Dog, Tarina Smith, B1 Sly One. Y'all, I'm so grateful to be able to do this and serve y'all every single day. And I just want to make sure y'all see things you normally don't see, that we bring you the top news every single day. And this is a community that we are moving forward with that bring positive change. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.